Hello, welcome back to Fun Online Teaching and Learning. It's nice to see you here. And if you are here, you're probably wanting to learn about project management, risk management, systems thinking, and professional development, as we call it, lift skills or soft skills or interpersonal skills. If you like the content and the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification and follow us weekly updates. And I thank you in advance. So what we have done so far in the previous recordings is I recommended these books for you to look at and read more about systems thinking, and we defined systems as the set of things interconnected in such a way that they produce their own pattern of behavior over time, and that's according to Donella Meadows. She talks about it in Thinking in Systems book. As you can see, if there's one thing, it's not a system. If there are multiple things and it's not connected, it's not a system. If they don't produce their own distinct behavior and pattern over time, it's not a system. So if it's not a system, what can it be? It can be a collection of stuff, and meaning they are not related, they don't work together, they don't have a common objective. It's like apples in a basket or tools in a mechanics toolkit. Or a kitchen with washer, dryer, and everything, but there's no person in the kitchen, there's no mechanic to use the tools, and there's no one to eat the apples in the basket, right? Different fruits in the basket. So that means they are not systems and they are not connected. Then question comes up, how do I identify the systems, right? So you have three things we already covered. So if you want to see more details, you can see the description, the links for the previous videos. There should be a purpose, function, properties. There should be a linkage, a relation, and there should be elements, parts and contributes, the attributes and components. I want you to look at your life from a systems perspective. Don't let your life to be a collection of stuff which is unrelated. If you don't take full charge of your life and don't see it as a system, you just see it in fragmented parts and here and there, and you don't really connect the things. You don't really connect the dots. So I want you to be a systems thinker and be in the middle, in the center, in the core of your life, and design your life and create your own future instead of waiting it to be a random future. And we also looked at the systems thinking, which is seeing and understanding the situation, the parts, the relationship, and how they contribute to the overall picture, overall system value. A healthy system, we have resources. Let's say one of these two is money, the other one is expertise, and the other one is time. If you put them together in a healthy system, then you increase the value and you have a 222. But if you don't have a healthy system, if it's unhealthy, then you organize it wrong, and the most you can have is 22, right? In most cases, you only have 2. So if we don't pull to the same side, if we pull the opposite side, then we're not going to be able to create the system value. And I gave an example in the previous video about an elephant. The elephant being a product, making sales in a company or a big company. If you don't let your employees and departments talk, share information, see each other's work, and sympathize, then the company will not be able to move forward like this big elephant, because no one sees the big picture, right? You can preach all day long as a CEO, as a manager, as a leader. It's not gonna make sense for the employees because they don't see the big picture. You can improve the understanding by letting them see, but letting them hear, letting them share information, letting them understand what the others are doing and sympathize with them. So systems thinking helps us understand, describe the problem, analyze the problem, find solution, minimize the mistakes, expand the solution space, make better informed decisions. We all covered that in the previous video. And also systems thinking is not enough. You have to think in systems of system, right? Because every system we have has related systems, and then they exist within an environment. They don't exist in a vacuum, right? They are relating to other natural resources, research, political, legal frameworks, other businesses and laws and financial systems. So now systems thinking, you have to expand it on to systems of systems. Okay. And we also talk about the least possible, the least obvious part of the system might be sometimes the most crucial one. And I gave the example of a car and a turn off, turn on button for the computer. We don't really realize that. We don't care about keys and button, but if the computer turn on, turn off button is not working, you can't really open the computer. And sometimes when you launch product, like in this case, like the smartphone, then you think it's a phone, but then it becomes a tool, which is it's a multi-functional functional tool that it really connects people. And most of the features were not really obvious when we first started the smartphones, right? And then we talk about reductionism is not enough. You have to analyze and then synthesize, right? Break apart things and then put them together back again. And then half of the car is not a car. In this specific session, I want to talk about an iceberg model example. So iceberg model is, you have to look for pattern and mental models and be aware of the mental models when you want to see the systems, understand the parts and relationships and objectives and functions for attributes for each part, and also the system level value. Okay. So for example, when you're walking on a street, you see a soda can. What do? You probably pick up the soda can, right? Great. How about the next day when you're walking the same time, maybe the same day, the same street, you probably will see another soda can, right? And then you start understanding a pattern. And you also see that because of so many soda cans, now the trash bins are overflown, maybe by the wind or people putting more soda cans and trash than it really can hold, right? Now you see another problem. And what do? You write the city, you make them put more trash and stuff, more trash bins, and hopefully it's not overblown by wind now, but you still see soda cans around, right? Why? Because people are not probably using the trash bins, although they are there. So if you put this example in an iceberg model, when you see the first soda can, it's an event, right? It's what is visible in the iceberg. It's what is happening, right? So it's happening that there's a soda can on the street. And then the next day I see the same soda can and overflowing trash can. Now I see a pattern, a trend. People are not careful about putting their soda can in the trash, just kicking it on the street. And also I see a pattern that if people try to put it, it's overblown by the wind, and the trash bins are not enough, right? And then now I try to understand what is hidden, right? So the only visible element is event, right? And then under the events, under the water, you have the patterns and trends. The event is what's happening. Patterns are probably what's going to happen, right? And then the underlying structures, I want to understand, like, why is this happening? Why am I seeing soda can on the street? Why am I seeing overflown soda cans and trash bins being a lot and pouring out from the trash bin? And now I want to understand underlying structure, which is deeper than the pattern, right? In the invisible, the hidden side of the iceberg. How can I influence? What is influencing the situation, right? And then the deeper end of the iceberg tip, the bottom tip, is mental model. So these are the underlying culture and beliefs that fuel the structure, that fuel the patterns, and that make me see, because it's only visible part, see the event, the soda can on the street, correct? So if you want to understand the system and use solution and increase your solution space and quality, then you have to look for patterns and mental models, okay? So probably you know the usual hierarchy of data: information, knowledge, and wisdom, right? When we put data in context, it becomes information. When it's relevant, it becomes knowledge. And then when I put some vision in it, it becomes wisdom, right? So if you I want to overlap this with the iceberg model, which I really need to turn this like that, because events are data. That's the thing that I see on the street, soda can. and information is pattern, because when I give a context, oh, I see soda can every time I walk, so it's an information, right? And I want to understand, I want to know why, what is the underlying structure, why I'm seeing like soda cans around. And then I want to be wise about it. How can I change it, right? When you start thinking in this model, you really started understanding the systems. So the only thing you can do for a data is react, right? You see a soda can, you put it in the trash can. But when you understand the patterns, now you start anticipating what's going to happen tomorrow and the next week, right? And then once you got that information, now you want to know and design to attack the underlying structure. Oh, you know what? There's not enough trash cans, so I'm gonna write to city and go to meetings, city council meetings, and I'm gonna demand more trash cans on my street, right? And then one step further you can do is transform, right? So if the trash bin is full, you want people to carry their trash soda can and then discard it in a trash bin that is available to them, that's empty, maybe next to their home, wherever they are walking, wherever they are going, right? You want to transform the culture. uh, if they can wait a couple of feet and put it in an empty trash bin, right? That's transformation. That's not easy to do, that's not apparent, and that's not a quick fix. But when you change and transform the people's mental models, then you will not see soda cans, right? So iceberg model in systems thinking is so much important, and there's so much implications that we can use in the real world. And the next time when we are together and when you join me, we will discuss about some of the practical applications of systems thinking. What can we do in our practical life that's gonna help us with our daily work, daily task, and become a better employee, become a better entrepreneur, be a better dad, and live a better quality life. Okay. But so far, if you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be notified from the new content. And I especially thank you because you watched the video till the end and helped my channel grow. So I really thank you for that, and I really want to see you here in the next video, and stay safe.